Hey guys, thanks for all your birthday wishes. I'm actually a little bit sick. I've got this. The soldiers have been passing around a sore throat, so I've kind of been a little bit weak this past couple of days. But I'm not taking the lead currently on the training right now. So there's a bunch of other trainers, and they're doing the training. But because I've established a lot of relationship with the different leaders and the soldiers, so right now, and I speak more Ukrainian than any of the other guys, so I can get around easier and just talk to them. Of course, I still need help for the translator, but a bunch of simple words like first platoon, second platoon, first company, second company, who's the platoon leader? Okay, you're gonna go on the defense, you're gonna go on the ambush. You guys are training CQB. Like these words, I can communicate with them in Ukrainian. Anyway, so my job is to, lately, the past couple of days, is to arrange all the training and make sure all the training is going smoothly. But it's so wonderful to see you guys and get see the video coming back from you guys. So the American instructors stay in a hotel. I stay at the base, but past couple of days, because there's so much to do and planning and coordinating and logistics are more challenging when we're in two locations. So I've been staying on the ground here, just crashing on the ground with a sleeping bag in one of the instructors' rooms. His name is Jason. He's a medic. He was an Army medic. Oh man. There's so many things I want to tell you guys, but I'll just try to keep it short for a little bit. Because some of these things I can't put out on YouTube, I can't put on social media, but like this, the American instructors are a mess. It's hilarious because right now this battalion that I'm supporting, the 47th Separated Battalion, they're like revolutionary as far as the Ukrainian army is concerned. They're really changing the way the Ukrainian army looks at organization and kind of attitude and mentality, right? So for example, one of the major things that we are training them on is this idea of distributed leadership, of like anybody can just start leading, especially when the shit goes down, right? They don't have to wait for someone to tell them what to do. Like the guy in front, the commander of the unit doesn't need to be walking in the front in order to give orders. And the guy in front already knows what he needs to do, and he should be able to just, hey, we need to go left, we need to go right, whatever it is. Even simple stuff, just to take leadership on it, like to pick up trash when they're done with training without having to be given an order. Now, a lot of this stuff has a bunch of inertia, institutionalized inertia, cultural inertia. Like, for example, one of the things we struggle with is the guys don't know to drink water. They don't know how to find shade. Like, this is something which is really troubling for me. They literally do not carry water when they're going around doing stuff. And it's like someone else's problem. If I want them to drink water, it becomes my problem or our problem that they're not drinking water. Anyway, so like as far as the details that I can't put on the internet, like these Americans are so fucked up. The battalion's biggest enemy is the Ukrainian army, because the bureaucracy and the stupidity of the Ukrainian army left over from the Soviet Union era. But man, some of the Americans, the leader of the American group that I brought here, I made a huge mistake bringing him here because the leader is just not a good person. I mean, he's a good person, but he's not a good leader. He's not a good organizer of the details. He doesn't communicate very well. He doesn't, oh God, it's such a huge fucking mess. And so, fortunately, Will Ellison is here with me. He came to my rescue, and so between he and myself, we've already brought a lot of organization and changes here. But the thing is, they feel very threatened. There's a bunch of Marines who are part of the instructors, and they feel particularly threatened by my presence, by my strength, which is mainly because I understand the soldiers better. I understand the battalion better because I've been literally living with them for 2 weeks. But these guys, they want to have control, but they don't actually have control. They don't know how, because in order to control the training, you need to control the logistics. You need to control their command structure. You need to control their philosophy and mentality. You need to control their budget. So, we don't even have control. Like, for example, they got everything. They had a huge fight with me, and then they were like, We fucking controlled the training of this battalion. I'm like, okay, fine. If you control the training of the battalion, all right, let's just see how it goes. Monday morning, so they planned, they had meetings and meetings and meetings, right? And they have like meetings, and they're like, Brian, why aren't you at the meeting? I'm like, motherfucker, I'm training from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. with one platoon per day for 12 days in a row without any breaks, just so I can train for a whole day with a platoon and then rotate the next platoon, the next platoons. There's 12 platoons here as far as the rifle companies. So there's 3 companies. Each company has 3 rifle platoons. Each company also has a machine gun platoon, which is pretty small. They usually roll into the rifle platoons. And then there's other separate platoons for like anti-aircraft, anti-tank missiles, scouts, what have you. But the point is there's a lot of soldiers, and you know, in the beginning it was just me. So this other trainer came and he was working with just their reconnaissance platoon, which is like 12 guys. Like, fantastic. We have 2 instructors. I'm working with like 350 soldiers, and working myself to the bone. And then the other instructor just wants to work with 12, and he's doing like, I don't know, like 9 to lunchtime, and then lunchtime to 4, like 1 to 4, like 9 to 12 and 1 to 4 for 5 days. Like, do you not sense the urgency? Like, this unit can be called to the front at any time. These guys are brand new. Like, when I say brand new, I don't mean like they went to basic training, brand new. I mean like they were civilians last week, brand new. And they show up here, they're given one uniform, just one pair of pants and one shirt, one top, that is, and they're given some armor, they're given a rifle, and like they don't have a basic training. Like, join the army without basic training. So then our job is to provide that. But and here it is, this guy, Matthew, this guy who's the leader of the Americans, he says, oh, we're going to do a field training exercise for a whole day with 2 platoons. I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. I'm like, how many trainers do we need for this? He's like, well, we could do it with all of us. There's like 8 trainers here, okay? There's like 8 trainers and like 8 translators. Like, there's a bunch of us. 8 trailers and 8 translators to work with 2 platoons for 1 day. And I'm like, okay, fine. So then how are we going to rotate the whole battalion? He's like, no, we couldn't do that with the whole battalion. Like, it's not doable. It's not possible to do that with the whole battalion. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because we need to train this entire battalion. So you can't just take 2 platoons out of the battalion of like 14 plus platoons and you just want to have a little pet project. And you know why? It's because he needs funding, he needs fundraising. So he basically would have one run through some like platoon exercises, like maneuvers, like a little scenario, and they maneuver against each other and they shoot each other with airsoft guns. And then the second time through, then they film it for Rolling Stones. So he doesn't actually plan on training the whole battalion on this field exercise. He only plans on training 2 platoons so that they can be filmed. This blows my mind. And you know what? Like, I'm not very much of a politician. And so we got in a huge fight, more like they wanted to attack me because they felt threatened by me last week, because I was like, look, you want to talk about being unprofessional? Because they were calling me unprofessional. They're like, Brian, we called a meeting at 5 or 6 o'clock. Why aren't you here? I'm like, I'm in training. And they're like, when are you in training till? I'm like, till 9. They're like, why are you in training till 9? I'm like, hello, does that even require an explanation of why I'm in training till 9? Because don't you see the urgency? There's one trainer for 300 some soldiers and they're counting on us. I'm like, where the fuck are you guys? If you really believe that they're here to do training, then why aren't you here helping me when you guys are in a meeting? And they're like, that's unprofessional. You should cancel today's training because we need to be in a meeting. Okay, so I go to their meeting at 9 o'clock after I've done 12 hours of training, right? So I come to the hotel, get a little meeting, and they want to give me a bunch of shit about, oh, stay in your lane, you shouldn't be teaching tactics. Well, you're a civilian fire instructor. What do you know about this stuff? What do you know about crossing a road or securing setting perimeter security or whatever? I'm like, maybe I don't. So give me the curriculum. If you want me to teach curriculum, give me a curriculum. Tell me what to say. Or else, if you're not going to be here, then I will do the best I can with them because they're counting on us. And if you're not fucking here, then I will do the best I can, right? And they're like, oh, you should cancel the training because we need a meeting. I'm like, okay, fine. Tell me next week's schedule, right? And this leader, Matthew, he can't figure out, are we doing 2-hour blocks or 3-hour blocks? Are we doing 4 classes a day or 3 classes a day? After all this work, they got 4 days of training for a week, 4 days scheduled out, and they couldn't figure out the rest of the schedule. And each soldier is only doing 3 hours of training per day, which actually, now that we're done with all 4 days, it turns out to only be 2.5 hours of training per soldier per day. How do you train a battalion to get ready for combat like that? Okay, gotta go. See ya.